Welcome back. It's been a year for stocks and listings, and we got two goodies added to the JSE. WeBuyCars was frantically spun out of Transaction Capital, while Pick n Pay was equally frantic about listing Boxer. Here's the Boxer CEO on their investment case.
We come from humble beginnings back in the early 90s, 5 stores. 2 weeks ago we opened our 500th store, and I think the investor community has really liked what we've shown them in terms of the consistency of both our turnover growth, the robustness of our business model that has withstood some challenging environments that we've had over the last 5 years here in South Africa, and also the long runway that's out there in terms of opportunity for further expansion and taking our Boxer superstores to more cities and towns in South Africa.
And WeBuyCars founder on their path to the JSE.
Back when we started, we never ever knew and thought that we would grow as big as we did. We've been so blessed to be surrounded by the right individuals and to have been able to walk this path. We always just looked at maybe 6 months ahead or a year ahead. So when a company scales, it can be done in 2 ways. It's either a push or a pull. But we just found that the demand for the service that WeBuyCars offer just grew automatically.
So at listing, I thought 20 was a little rich. Now at 48, I'm not sure. But a good listing. I mean, Transaction Capital's now just got Newton and still got SA Taxi, which is ring-fenced. This is a good, nice little stock.
I think South Africa's been starved of listings, first of all. So anything, when you look at listings, you're like, oh, this is great. Look, the reality, South African companies have always been great companies, and they've always been able to operate under the highest level of pressure. And that's been at inflation levels north of 6%, right? So at inflation levels like this, you know what I mean? That's a norm for South African companies. This is a good listing. I think for me, the second-hand car market, my only concern remains around the concentration of inventory that you have to keep on hand relative to the consumer. You rely on the consumer to take that off your hands.
Yeah, they have 10,000 cars. So I track it, and they've got around 10,500 cars on their balance sheet. Boxer, nice little business. And to the argument, and David, I will channel David Shapiro at this point. It's been there for 20 years. Why has no one seen it? I would blame Pick n Pay for not telling us about it, but a good little business that can it challenge ShopRite, really?
I don't know. So you look at the PE, it's approaching, obviously it's an oversimplified number, sure. But it's approaching ShopRite levels in terms of PE ratio. What's interesting to me is you look at the market capitalization. I mean, Pick n Pay still owns a significant chunk of Boxer, and yet it's worth less. And you work out the numbers, basically the market thinks Pick n Pay is just about worthless, or call it a few billion. But this is a business that's doing double the revenues of Boxer. So a bit of an interesting one to look at there. But I think Boxer, yes, it's a good business. I mean, they spun it out for exactly that reason.
I like this, man. Worthless, couple of billion. That's my type of numbers, man. That's it. And then, of course, we left with Pick n Pay and Transaction Capital. Meh.
None of them excite me.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We had some horrors, dare I say it, Sasol. While PGMs also managed to disappoint as we all waited for the white metal to get going again, only to watch them fall back again. Anyone here holding?
No, I'm not holding Sasol, but remember when we said if Sasol ever goes up, we'll put our things on the crocodile's mouth?
You said that.
Well, well, I'm safe from the crocodile then.
You are safe from the crocodile. So, totally and absolutely.
Exactly. So I don't know. I like to keep my things to myself.
I think Sasol becomes... Right now, there's a bearish story. Right now, it doesn't look good. Jordan said something quite important, saying that hindsight is important to look at. If we had this exact same conversation on this exact same day, and the Chinese stimulus had come out the way we thought it would, and Chinese demand had returned to the market, this conversation wouldn't be happening, because Sasol would be back north towards 200 or possibly.
But right now, Renegen's going to make an offer for them.
That's it. So at this point, it's easy to say Sasol doesn't look good at this point. But the reality is they're such a big contributor towards the South African economy, the petroleum and the fuel that is produced in the country. So it's not that the business is going to suddenly go away overnight, right? That being said, though...
But then who saves Sasol?
That's another fair point.
Exxon. Not Ren. Come on, guys. This is not a joke.
I mean, but it doesn't have to be saved. It can stay where it is. It can just go to 5 rand. I mean, what saves Sasol is solving their pollution problem, oil at 90, or I don't know,
So another 200 years.
Chinese
then.
demand.
I don't know.
Chinese
I don't think I have.
Chinese demand coming back
we
to
don't
the
have
fold.
time for it.
I don't
so
think I have
know.
that time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but if you look at a company like Nissan, right? Nissan's margins have gone down to 0.5%. The company is 100 and something odd years old.
I'm
facing
more bullish.
bankruptcy.
I'm more bullish on that. than Sasol. That's my
right.
point.
PGMs, any thrill for PGMs?
Again, you talk about China's got to switch on, I think,
Okay,
for
talk
anything
China.
to really happen there. No, we're back to
So
China.
what happened to the China? We got the 24th of September. We're all on holiday. The China stimulus market's up.
You know their
then down.
their stimulus is still sitting around $380 billion. It's absolutely nothing for an economy of that size. And that happened over 3 months. Absolutely. That's why no one is buying
So
that
we need
stuff.
to send the man with big numbers.
Yeah, exactly. We need some numbers. Exactly. We don't need.
I think China's problem is they want to figure out what's going on and they want to control everything. Remember, China
Want to
comes
buy
from
everything before they stimulate.
That's it.
It
But-
doesn't make
and
sense.
remember, China comes from an environment where in the pandemic you waged a trade war. You're now waging a second or a third or a fourth trade war now that's going to start in 2025. So you've got that you're balancing. But at the same time, you're not wanting the domestic people to be too wealthy because that doesn't line up with what a communist China looks like. So you can't be controlling everything everywhere. And
It's
so
not going to work.
Okay, then
not.
what about China Tech, which is cheap? I mean, whether it be Alibaba or Tencent or something, do we take long hard shots here?
Here's a fact for you. So Nvidia currently, as it trades, it's worth 2.5 times the
I know.
entire
China Tech.
China tech space. Yeah. So
But you look at even something, not even Tencent Music, you look at the amount of users they have. Like, these are businesses, these are not
WeChat,
these are not
1.3
startups.
billion active users.
Yes, these are businesses that have a huge amount of customers. They're making a lot of revenues, but I think it's, let's be honest, it's just a really unloved market, and it has
the
been for
meddling.
quite a long time.
it's the
no,
meddling.
it's
I do
their
agree,
father.
but
Their father
regulatory
doesn't want
meddling.
them to be successful.
Yeah, it's the
not good.
regulatory meddling. So the moment you start getting involved in things, you looking at your portfolio like, hey, I'm going to go put my money in there, and then one morning I'm going to wake up and there's a legislation that's been passed and everything's gone
But
sideways.
Xi Jinping does say he's calmed on it, but I take your point. Do we trust him? Retail locally had a stormer of a year. Mr. Price almost doubling, while others all raced from bottom left to top right of the charts. Our favorite chart. We're still holding Mr. Price. Please, somebody help me. I'm up like 90%. I don't know what to
you
do.
should be holding your Mr. Price.
I
'cause
am
you know
holding my Mr.
So
Price.
hold them long and strong.
I will listen to it.
Yes. Looking at retail in general, it excites me. It's something from my past. But
Yeah.
if I had to redo retail again, I'd still stick with TFG, man. All the other
I'm
stuff.
holding that too.
Well done. So I think there's a better story to be told there than Truworths, mainly because it's
I'm
great.
not holding Truworths.
Exactly. No. It's great management. It's a great business, and people still go buy it. Currently, you look at left and right at the mall. Everyone has that Luella handbag. So I don't know
what that is, but I'll take
exactly.
your word
It's
in it.
TFG. The
Bash
thing-
is doing quite well for them
No,
as well.
exactly.
They're bringing
Yeah,
all these
actually,
different
that's a good
brands
point.
together under one umbrella. I
That
think.
has worked
They're
very
really
well.
good at doing that stuff.
But they've run in anticipation, because if we saw the PEP results to September, we saw the Mr. Price update to September, the period under review, not good. The weeks posted, when 2 pot came in, chump. It's like the market has kind of like, as the market does, we saw this coming. I'm not giving another 90% next year, am I?
That's a tough one.
I might. I mean, there's hope.
There's hope. I mean, how many more 2-pot withdrawals are we going to see in the next year? I mean, I think,
They're still backlogged.
but everyone just focuses on that. I don't think that's going to solve all our problems, right?
no,
like
no,
on
no,
the
no,
margins, that's maybe a little boost.
But money does certainly solve some of mine.
Certainly.
And rising Mr. Price, I don't need 2 pot
Yeah.
withdrawal.
No, I think GDP growth solves all problems. It gives you the ability to solve all problems, right?
Okay, the man is not wrong. The man is not wrong. Other winners this year, tech with pretty much the Mag 7, still magnificent, but none more than Nvidia, which is up some 200% so far, and we still have a few weeks left in the year. My fun fact to go with Bright's Nvidia. Nvidia has beaten Bitcoin over the last 10 years, 28,620% versus 26,180%.
So buy the shovels, don't buy the mine. What's the saying exactly? 'Cause-
Exactly. I want to know when you've bought your first Nvidias. About 10 years ago. No, maybe 8 years.
No. So I didn't go back that far, but yeah, 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, but we do have a client who's bought them in 2015.
But it is to buy the shovels. I mean, it's the old story. I mean, we could have, Meta and Microsoft done great, but Nvidia's just knocked them all out.
Absolutely.
So what the fun fact in that 65% of the Mac 7 is that if you remove Nvidia and you remove Meta, all of a sudden the 40% left of the returns is what you get, because 62% is just those 2 companies.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still US tech.
Yeah, well, that's been the US story. A lot of the US story has been NVIDIA keeping the entire US economy from collapsing at some point.
Everything
again, if you remember, we were having a discussion at the start of the year as to whether or not we're going to have a US-led global recession. And then markets just kept moving up, and then NVIDIA kept pumping, and number after number after number, report after report after report, everybody's R&D budget went into NVIDIA, and suddenly we're like, oh no, a soft landing is fine.
Yeah, remember unemployment was going to rise. 4 point something. BHP Group decided they liked Anglo American, well, parts of it. They didn't light a fire, and after rebuffing the offer, Anglo said of taking themselves apart. De Beers, diamonds aren't forever, and Anglo Platinum, yes, Lexol right at the bottom of the cycle.
Jordan,
Bitterton going to come back?
Sorry?
Does Bitterton come back, make another offer?
I don't think they've let go of it completely. I mean, Anglo's forging ahead with their plan, right? So De Beers, I don't know if I think the writing might be on the wall for De Beers, and diamonds, the diamond market generally is not looking great.
Diamonds are not forever.
Yeah, diamonds
not when you can make them in a lab.
Yeah, but De Beers tells us they are, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, I was in Rosebank Mall, and one of the diamond shops has, what do they call them? Lab-grown diamonds in their windows. So, I mean,
you don't have to
and
worry
your
about those
eye
getting
and
stolen.
my eye can't tell the difference.
And neither can your lovely partner who's got a bling on her.
But your wallet can.
My wallet can. Do we like Anglo or Billiton? I mean, they basically saying it's all about copper.
Everybody's saying it's all about copper because we're still having
copper price.
Exactly. We're still having the EV conversation, right? We're still having the what are we doing? What's transitioning? What's cleaner metals and all of that? The reality is, the past 4 years have shown you that the transition is not going to be as quick and as easy as everybody thought it would be. Because at some point it was everything EV. Now it's we can adopt hybrids. We can still keep ICEs.
And then there's those.
And then there's some weird things.
So there's those fun ones where you have an ICE engine that charges your battery, and the ICE engine, because you're American, is 3.6 litre Dodge.
There you go.
You are not saving any planet anywhere. And finally, Quality Street, that bastion of Christmas alongside the Baker's Choice assorted biscuits. The biscuits have priced themselves out of everybody's home, and now a Welsh TikToker has busted Quality Street. She found an old tin from the 80s and discovered it took 4 of today's tins to fill the 80s tin. We've been robbed, and somebody needs to get into the case and return our sweets. You know those big tins of the 80s?
Yeah, no, but the problem here is that we are still using technology from the 1800s to produce the Quality Street. So if you go to East London, at their factory there, they're still using a machine that you pull like this, where only 2 people in South Africa can operate. It's the craziest thing.
Okay, so what we're going to do is find those 2 people and wrap them in cotton wool, because like what happens
Bubble
if there's
wrap,
only one?
everything. Just protect them.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Gentlemen, Jordan, Bright, Jimmy, thank you for your time. Everyone out there, have a great weekend and awesome holiday. Look after yourself, and if you can, somebody else as well.